So now we're on to problem 16-5, and so now we're going to get into talking about equivalent units. And so what equivalent units are is, in a process cost system, you have this continuous process. It's, probably a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week system. And so what we're going to do is, when we get to the month, it's the end of the month, let's say, this is, we're making M&Ms, and we have our batches going, and so the first one, they're adding the chocolate. The second one, they're doing the candy coating. Well, at the end of the month, we have M&Ms in various stages of being finished, and so what we need to do is we need to quantify, hey, how many units are partially done, how many are completely done. And so that's when we get into equivalent units. And so the best way to understand it is just kind of start working our way through a problem. And so in problem 16-5, so it says, hey, look at the info from 16-4. We have that down here. And so we have a company with a single product in one department. All the direct materials are added at the very beginning of the manufacturing process. The conversion costs are added evenly throughout the process. And so during the month of May, they completed 22,200 units, and they sent those to finished goods. They started the month with 3,000 units. And of that, the beginning work in process consisted of 19,800 in direct materials, 22,100 of conversion cost. Okay, and so I don't think we've talked about conversion costs yet. So what conversion costs are is the combination of direct labor and overhead. So we have three different kinds of costs we've talked about. We have direct materials, direct labor, and overhead. And so conversion cost is saying, hey, we're starting off with this raw material, this direct material. What does it take to convert it to a finished goods? Well, it takes direct labor and overhead. So we talk about conversion costs. We're just talking about both direct labor and factory overhead. And so they're in ending work in process. We had 2,400 units, 100% complete with regards to direct materials, 80% complete with respect to conversion cost. And then during the month, we added 496,800 of direct materials, and we added 2.165940 of conversion cost. And so, beginning work in process, 3,000 units. They had already had all of the direct materials added, and they've had 40% of the conversion cost added. And then we completed 22,200 units, 3,000 from work in process, and the remaining 1,920 were started and completed during the month. Okay, so it wants us to prepare a process cost summary. So we're going to start off with the cost in beginning work in process. So it tells us down here that we have 19,800 of direct materials and 22,940 of conversion costs that we started with. Then during the month, it says that we added, which is down here, 496,800 of direct materials and 22,65940 of conversion cost. So we have to account for $2.9 million of total cost. So now we need to figure out, so that's the cost we need to account for. Now we need to figure out what are the units we need to account for. And so, excuse me, to kind of get this straight in my own head, I kind of made this little schedule over here. And so it tells us that we started the month with 3,000 units in work in process. It says that we ended with 2,400, and it says that we completed 22,200. So now we can kind of back into the other numbers that we need. So we know that we need to account for what was completed and what was left over, so we need to account for 24,600 units. And if we started with 3,000, that means that we added 21,600 units during the month. So okay, so this will kind of help us as we go through it. So our beginning work in process was 3,000 units, and we started 21,600, so we need to count for 24,600 units. We can also do it this way, where we completed 22,200, and if we add in our ending work in process, we get to the same amount, 24,600. So those are the total units we need to account for, not the equivalent units. So to do the equivalent units, let's see here. So if we're talking about our beginning work in process, it says we had 3,000 units. It said that at the beginning of the month, 100% of the direct materials had already been added. So that means we accounted for those last month. We don't account for them this month. So we account for 0% this month. For conversion costs, it says that 40% of the conversion costs had been added. That means we need to account for 60% this month. So our equivalent units for direct materials is our 3,000 times 0, 0. And our equivalent units for conversion cost is our 3,000 times 60%, 1,800. And so that's out of the beginning inventory. And so then we started and completed units during the month. And so I believe it tells us right here. So during the month, 19,200 were started and completed. So if we started and completed them, that means we need to account for all of that this month. And we also need to account for the ending inventory. And so it said the ending inventory was 2,400 total, and that all of the direct material costs were added in our current month, so we need to account for 100%. And it said that 80% of the conversion costs were added during the month that we're working in. So now we just do the same deal here. So 24,000 times 80%. So now our equivalent units of production, I just want to add up all this. Whoops. So our equivalent units, we have equivalent units for direct materials, which is 21,600, and equivalent units for conversion cost of 22,920. And so now we want to figure out what is the cost per our equivalent unit. And so it tells us that we added cost during the month of 496,800 of direct materials and 21,65,940. So that was down here. And we want to plug in our equivalent units. So now we have our cost per equivalent unit of $23 per unit for direct materials, and $94.50 for conversion cost. Alright, so then as the cost transferred out, so the cost in beginning work in process let's see, I think it gives that to us. Oh, that's right. We calculated that up here. Okay. So our beginning cost work in process was a total of $241,740. And so our cost to complete our beginning work in process, so our beginning work in process units for direct materials was 0. Just plug that in, multiply it times our cost. And our conversion cost beginning was 1,800 units times our cost per unit of $94.50. So that was the cost to complete the work in process. And so for the units started and completed, we have $19.20 for direct materials times our cost. And our conversion cost completed, started and completed, and so the total cost of goods finished this period was what we started the month with, was $241. To complete the beginning work in process was $170, and then the started and completed was the $22.5. So the total cost of goods finished this period was $2,667,840. Let's see if it gave us a check figure. Cost transferred to finished goods. Here we go. $2,667,840. All right, we are on track. And so now we need to figure out the cost in ending work in process. So our ending work in process units was 2,400 for direct materials times our cost. And then our conversion was only 80% done. So that's 1920 times our cost. So our cost for our ending work in process is 236,640. Gives us total cost to account for 2.904, 480, which matches what we had up here to account for of 294,480. So everything matches up. So then it asks us to do a journal entry to transfer the goods completed to finished goods. So that's what we transferred is right here. These are 2,667,840. So we take that out of work in process and put it into finished goods. So alright, everything matches up, and that is our quick look at equivalent units.